Hello, everyone, and thank you for tuning in again live today. It is Sunday, September 24th. It is 1 p.m., and you are watching episode 124 of Skill Building Sunday here live with me, Jason Leeser. Um, and if this is working for you, please let me know in the comments and in the chats, and please tag a friend who loves tattoos. And welcome to Guy Aitchison's Reinventing the Tattoo Community, where tattooers, apprentices, collectors, and the curious are encouraged to join in these live streams, real world events, to share and inspire and ultimately create better art and tattoos together. We beam out nearly every day, and with your help, have evolved into a quality network of amazing live and on demand tattoo and art shows that have all been receiving rave reviews. You can find Reinventing the Tattoo in both of the app stores, the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store, as well as our Reinventing the Tattoo YouTube channel, our Reinventing the Tattoo Roku channel, which has 12 to 15 different episodes going at any given time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, as well as all of the major podcast directories such as Apple and Spotify. Or you can do what most people do and just go to your web browser and do a Google search for Reinventing the Tattoo. You'll find it all, except for the book, which is currently out of print. If you find a copy and it's for sale, please let me know. I'm trying to get my hands on one. So please, please, please let me know if you come across one. But no matter where you were watching live or on demand, you can always get the latest and greatest, most up-to-date, most relevant information, all available at reinventingthetattoo.com. You can try it out for free. You do not have to subscribe to Reinventing the Tattoo to access all of the great features on the website. But if you do want to take a look into a subscription, you can try it out for free. You have one of three options. You can either pick a sample webinar from the Reinventing the Tattoo canon, which is absolutely fantastic, or you can get some free advice from Guy Aitchison about your unique goals and goal setting, or you could take a comprehensive tattoo history course from Jay Brown, which is absolutely fantastic. If you're a tattoo history nerd like me, it's phenomenal. It takes you through all of it. It's absolutely great. At reinventingthetattoo.com, you can also find a full event schedule with full weekly and special event live stream details. For example, if you wanted to jump in and join us on this episode of Skill Building Sunday, you could do that. You can find a full calendar listing of all of the special event Zoom information, all available at www.reinventingthetattoo.com. While there, you also have access to our Reinventing 24/7 channel, which is a lot like our Roku channel. It's got 13 different episodes playing at any given time, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And at reinventingthetattoo.com, you also have access to a whole host of professional development courses from over 20 world-class tattoo artists. These seminars include people like BJ Betts and Bob Tyrell, Andre Malcolm, and a whole lot more. So if you're really looking for a new place to get, live on-demand seminars or anything of that nature, take a look at reinventingthetattoo.com. It's all right there. Once again, if this is working for you and you can hear me and I'm coming through, please drop a comment or, tag a friend who loves tattoos. Let me know somehow. That way I'm not just talking to dead air. We always encourage people to tune into a number of different staple weekly shows that we host, starting off on Sundays with 1 p.m. with me, Jason Leeser, for the Skill Building Sunday Drawing Group. And this show is followed on Mondays with 4 different shows. Starting off at 9 a.m. Monday mornings, we have Drawing for Tattooers with James Wisdom, where we get to go through and we discuss basic drawing techniques and strategies. It really helps us get back to the core of what it is to be a tattoo artist in today's day and age, and helps us get back to some of those core fundamentals of being a fine artist. Following Drawing for Tattooers at 9 a.m. At 11 a.m., we have the Tattoo Weekly Show with Gabe Ripley, Lauren Gregory, and Jake Meeks from the Fireside Tattoo Network, where we get to go through and discuss current events in the tattoo industry. Maybe it's new rules and regulations being passed, or maybe it's a new convention that's coming about, or new technology. All of those topics, if it's new and it's for the tattoo industry, all of that will be discussed during the Tattoo Weekly at 11 a.m. Monday mornings. Following that, on Mondays at 5 p.m., we have Let's Talk About Feelings with Robbie Ripple, where we have a safe place to go to kind of talk and vent and maybe talk to other people that are in similar situations. As we know, being tattoo artists, it's kind of hard to have a safe outlet to go through and talk to people that can truly understand what we go through in our jobs from day to day. So let's talk about feelings with Robbie Ripple, 5 p.m. on Mondays. And that is right before at 9 p.m. on Mondays. We have a subscribers exclusive drawing group with Sandy McAndrew from the Reinventing the Tattoo Network. Um, Now, for the 9 p.m. Monday evening drawing groups, you do need to have a subscription to the Reinventing the Tattoo canon in order to access that, or a Reinventing the Tattoo Evolution subscription. I can tell you from personal experience, I would not be where I am today if it was not for those Monday evening drawing courses alone. On top of that, you do have access to parts of the Reinventing the Tattoo canon. Unless you get the canon subscription, then you have access to all of it. But I'm telling you right now, these Monday evening drawing courses are worth every penny. You can see a marked evolution in people that start it and the work that they do when they start it and when they finish it and the work that they do when they finish it. It's absolutely fantastic. I highly recommend everyone sign up. Even if it's just for that, it's totally worth it. Following that, on Wednesdays at 11 a.m., at noon, we have the Tattoo Now show with Gabe Ripley, where we go through and we dive a little bit more into the business side of tattooing. Maybe it's marketing we're talking about, or branding, or maybe it's talking about website development, what to look for in a good website. Maybe it's talking about ways to go through and do self-promotion. All of that and more are available to be discussed at noon on Wednesdays with Gabe Ripley and the Tattoo Now show. Following that and capping off the week on Thursdays at 6 p.m., we have the Tattoo Collecting 101 podcast with Fawn Baker, where we get to go through and hear everyone's stories and hear different stories about people collecting tattoos from other artists. We also cover a lot of other topics during those podcasts. It's absolutely fantastic. Highly recommend you take a look at that one. It's always entertaining. We do have a special live event coming up, and that is the Paradise Tattoo Gathering. Tickets are on sale now, but space is very limited. I know rooms are getting close to being sold out. So if you do want to attend this year's Paradise Gathering, which I highly recommend you do, and I'll tell you why in just a second, if you plan on attending, get your rooms now. Space is very limited. Rooms are literally selling out every day. Get your tickets now. Trust me, it's going to be worth it. We've got presenters this year live in person, such as Nick Baxter, Corey Ferguson, Gunner, Thea Duskin, Andy Chambers, Lady Sarah, Jake Meeks from the Fireside Tattoo Network, who will be doing his Find Your Style seminar for free for people that purchase the tickets to the Paradise Tattoo Gathering. Tom Strum, Andre Malcolm. I can't wait to take his seminar. It's going to be fantastic. And that's just to name a couple of the people that will be presenting. I will also be there. I will be presenting as well. I will be doing two different presentations, one on printmaking for tattoo artists, ways to go through and strategize prints that you might want to have made, as well as best ways to go through and prepare your images for printmaking. It's just one of two seminars I'm doing. I'm also doing a second one on Procreate for tattoo artists, where we will be covering the ins, the outs, the ups, the downs, the insides and the outsides. All of Procreate, we'll be going over how to make your own brushes and brush sets, how to tweak your own brushes. All of the tiny little nuances and more advanced features will be discussed as well. Who knows, there may be a free brush set giveaway, only available at the Paradise Gathering. Would like to go through and take a minute to thank some of our sponsors, some of the people that make these shows happen. Starting off with worldtattooevents.com, the largest, most comprehensive resource for tattoo events worldwide. They're constantly keeping their calendar and schedules up to date. As we know, living in this post pandemic era, certain events are still getting rescheduled like crazy. So if you are looking for the latest, most up to date information on a tattoo event coming to a city or town near you, or maybe it's one you plan on visiting, it's how I usually use the schedule. Take a look at worldtattooevents.com. Would also like to thank tattoonow.com, technology for tattooers, the leading edge in professional development, management, and digital tools for tattoo artists of all levels. They're constantly keeping everything upgraded and competitive with any type of CRM, mailing list, or scheduling software out there. So if you're looking for the latest and greatest digital tools to help you get more clients to come in to get the kind of work that you really want to do, tattoonow.com is exactly where you want to go for that. They've been doing it for so long. I can't even tell you how long they've been doing it for, since well before I started tattooing. Probably over 20 years. But they have been a name in the tattoo industry for a very long time. And these guys know how to go through and really get you up and off the ground and really get more clients in your chair. So take a look at tattoonow.com. Of course, this wouldn't be reinventing the tattoo without a very personal and professional thank you and shout out to Guy Aitchison at guyaitchison.com. He is the founder and inspiration behind Reinventing the Tattoo. You can go to guyaitchison.com where you can pick up a copy of his biomech encyclopedia, some of his DVDs. I think he may still have a few custom coil machines for sale, as well as every now and then, you might find him selling an original oil painting or countless fine art prints, all available at guyaitchison.com. And would also like to say a very quick thank you and shout out to Amy Nichols over at the Apprenticeship Diaries. Amy and the Apprenticeship Diaries are some of our affiliates. If you are looking for information on how to become a tattoo artist or what to expect in an apprenticeship, or best strategies on how to get an apprenticeship, take a look at the Apprenticeship Diaries with Amy Nichols. Absolutely fantastic. Tons of great information on there that will really help you get your stride in your apprenticeship or help you achieve one. Would also like to say a very personal thank you and shout out to Tatcom and Aaron Williams, the mad scientist over at Tatcom. These guys are literally diving into the science of how tattoos work and developing machines and equipment that will help you tattoo more efficiently and at a better level than you ever have before. These guys are scientifically based. They're some of the most intelligent human beings I have ever met. Seriously, talking to them is mind-blowing during every single discussion. So take a look at Tatcom and Aaron Williams, the mad scientist. These guys are the cutting edge in tattoo technology. As always, if you like today's episode, we ask that you post a positive review on the channel. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button down at the bottom of the page and help us get the word out. If you would like to host a Reinventing the Tattoo event or become a sponsor of our community, or if you're looking for a fine art or a tattoo critique, you can always email management at reinventingthetattoo.com and we will get back to you just as soon as we can. And that kind of wraps up our intro for today. Thank you, everyone that may be watching. Always appreciate people tuning in. So that we can close, And we may have a special guest, Ricardo Sertivant, joining us today. I did get a message from him earlier, so we will see if he joins us in a little bit. Did send out the invitation to a few other people as well, so we will see who shows up. In the meantime, while we are waiting for other people to show up, wanted to say a quick word about reinvesting in yourself. A lot of people will sit back and they will talk about investing in your career, investing in your knowledge, investing in upgrading your equipment. What are you doing to reinvest in yourself, right? Something that not a lot of people really take the time to sit back and examine. Um, what are you doing to help you take yourself to another level? What are you doing to help you achieve more or to be better than you were yesterday? I consider all of that to be reinvesting in yourself. Whether that means going to conventions and picking people's brains there that are doing fantastic work, whether that's going and taking seminars. Maybe someone like Bill Canales or Harlan Kantner or, anyone that you really admire is in your area doing a seminar at a studio, or even if it's a short drive away, are you attending that? Are you trying to work towards getting better than you were yesterday? Right. And a lot of that comes down to, are you reinvesting in yourself into what you are doing? Are you taking the time to sit down and work on the things that you know you need to improve? It's something that, I know that anatomy is one of my, uh, not necessarily one of my, you know, weakest parts, but I know it's something I need to work a bit more on. So it's something I'm constantly sitting down trying to do. I'm constantly sitting down practicing proportions, working on, okay, if I have this here and that there, how do I do this? I'm constantly sitting down and working on things that I know I need to improve in order to take me to that next level, you know? And that comes with work ethic, right? You have to be disciplined in that. You have to sit back and say, no, 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 I'm going to set aside 1 hour every night, whether, it's after you put the kids to bed, or maybe it's an hour after you get home from work to decompress, you know, st- come up with a realistic idea of how much time you can spend to work on those things you know you need to improve on. Doesn't have to be an hour, maybe it's 30 minutes, maybe it's 20 minutes. Um, but take a little bit of time every single day, even if it's just a small little 15 minutes window that you have. Take that little bit of time, work on something you know you need to work on. Maybe it's figuring out your monthly budget or weekly budget. Maybe it's going through and building a new website. You know, 30 minutes a day over X number of days can really add up to a great, great product. So take that time, take a little bit of time every night, sit back and just say, okay, what do I need to work on? Maybe, maybe that's the first step. Sit back, compile a list, write it down. What are the things you know you need to work on, right? Take 20 minutes. That's what it is. 20 minutes, sit down and just write out a list. What are the things you know you really need to work on to help take yourself to another level? Maybe it's figuring out your budget or your finances, like I mentioned. Maybe it's time management, right? Maybe that's something you really need to work on. Maybe it's drawing anatomy, or maybe it's, okay, I know that I need to have more contrast. Okay, great. Sit down. That's on the list. Make that list and then start chipping away at it. You don't have to dedicate 12 hours, every single day to working on one specific thing. Chip away at it. Incremental progress leads to a compounding result, right? All you have to do is get 1% better than you were yesterday. And that's pretty easy to do with very minimal effort. 1% better is literally next to nothing. It doesn't take a whole lot to do that. Sit down, evaluate, reflect, and start working on it. Make a goal, make a plan, carve out a little bit of time. Maybe it's 30 minutes before your first appointment for the day. Maybe you start going to the studio 30 minutes earlier. Maybe you wake up 30 minutes earlier to make sure that you have that time. Take some time every single day, work on you, work on the things that you know you need to work on. I call that reinvesting in yourself. And it's something that we all need to do on a daily basis in order to truly improve. You know, the first step to that, though, is evaluation. Sit back and evaluate, what do you really need to work on? Without evaluating and without reflecting on what it is you really need to work on, you won't ever really know. After that, make a list, right? It's that simple. If you write it down and you make a list, that's going to force you to sit back and say, okay, here's my list. What am I working on today? And it doesn't mean that you have to work on every single thing on there. Maybe one thing leads to another. Maybe you need to get better at drawing anatomy in order to go through and work on facial expressions, right? So you can take things step by step. But if you're not going through and reinvesting in yourself, you're always going to stay where you are and things will never change. If you're comfortable where you're at, great, fine, by all means. If you're doing all the things and you're doing everything right and life is going really, really well for you, great. If you don't want to progress anymore, that's up to you. Me, I want to progress. I want to be better than I was yesterday. I want to be better next week than I was this week. And I want to keep that going because I know I can do better. And I know that if I don't push myself, if I don't work on the things that I know I need to work on, I'm never going to achieve the level that I know I can achieve. And everyone has those goals. Everyone has that level that they know that they can get to if they put the work in. So reinvest in yourself, gain some of that knowledge, gain that experience, go through, take a little bit of a risk here and there, a calculated risk, but a risk. Take that risk because with no risk, there's no reward, right? You can't go through and expect things to spontaneously change on their own. And if they do, it's usually not in the way that you want them to. So go through, take some calculated risks, evaluate certain things, and then start working on what you know you need to work on in order to achieve that which you know you can achieve. Sometimes it may mean making sacrifices. Maybe you can't go to the bar every night like you used to. Maybe you have to wake up earlier than you want to. Maybe you have to go to sleep earlier than you want to in order to wake up earlier than you want to, right? So there will be some sacrifice involved, but without sacrifice, there's no progress. So go through, take that time, reflect, evaluate, and reinvest in yourself. And I think you would be surprised at the level that you can achieve. You just take 20 minutes a day and just work on, maybe it's one thing that you know you need to work on. Whether you want to do it or not, doesn't matter, right? There's lots of stuff I do every single day that I don't necessarily want to do, but I do it anyway because I know it needs to be done and I know I'm going to be a better person because of it. So go through, take some time, reinvest in yourself, and you would be surprised at the results. And I say that only because I've taken this year and I've kind of done a lot of reevaluation. And, one of my dreams, one of my goals that I had set was to get to the point that I was good enough to actually receive an invitation to work at the Hell City Convention. Hell City Convention, in my eyes, is one of the best shows that is available in the United States. To me, it's up there with shows like the Austin Invitational, right? Evergreen, you know, Golden State Expo, the Empire State Expo. These are all premier headlining, invitation only, super exclusive tattoo conventions. To me, they are a mark of progress, right? So I've taken this year, I've taken a step back, I've done a lot of reevaluating, I've done a lot of work, and I submitted my application and I got the acceptance to work at Hell City Convention this year, this coming year, 2024, and I got accepted. And I'm very thankful for that. And I couldn't be happier for that. I'm trying to make sure that everything goes smoothly with booking that so that I can be there this year. But that to me was a goal that I had set. That was to me a level that I knew I could achieve if I put in the work, if I reinvested in myself hard enough, and if I really pushed myself to do better than I was. And it's paid off. You know, most of the people that apply for a booth at Hell City do not get accepted. I know that because I've spent the past 3 or 4 years trying to apply to it to get in so that I could work at it, and it never happened. Um, I got the acceptance letter this year and have been overjoyed ever since. But I also know that with that means I have to crank things up. I have to turn it up a notch. I have to be more disciplined. I have to work harder than I ever did before, because I don't want to show up and be, the worst guy in the room. You know, I want to show up and I want to kick ass and take names. That's what I want to do. And I want people to stop by my booth and be like, yo, that's amazing. Like, bravo on that. That looks really, really good. Or, man, I can't wait to see how that turns out. That's going to be epic. So I'm very, very excited for this. But I know it means that I need to work even harder than I have before. Creatures Cave, thank you very much. Always appreciate it. And thank you for tuning in today. So, I mean, with that though, I may not be able to work one of the usual conventions that I usually work, which is Philly. But I'm sitting down and I'm gonna take some time and think about that and plan that out financially and see how that goes. Um, we'll see how things go, but I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that that happens. Very, very excited to be a part of that this year. And I'm also excited to be a presenter at the Paradise Gathering, which I never thought I would ever do. To me, that was like one of those like Mount Everest of accomplishments, being selected to go and present at that. I was like, whoa, what's going on here? These guys are like really, really good. And why are you inviting me? But I got to give myself some credit. It's like, okay, I know why they invited me. I've worked my ass off and I plan on working my ass off even harder than I ever have before. Um, it means sacrificing a lot of time. I was up until 1 o'clock in the morning for the past 3 nights, just busting my butt. Just trying to make sure that, I've got a lot of really great artwork that I can work on at these shows. So, speaking of which, I'm going to go through and yeah. What am I working on today? So as you can tell, I've been drawing my butt off. Actually, I wanted to work on one of these dragons. Just trying to absolutely work my butt off, to really go through and push myself to see what I can do, to see what I can produce, come up with something better than I ever have before. And that's kind of what I'm working on with a lot of this stuff. I love the liquefy feature, by the way, in Procreate. It's very, very awesome. Especially if you need to like shrink something real quick, but you don't want to shrink everything on the layer. It's really good for like adjusting proportions, stuff like that. Maybe you draw a face and the nose is too big. Well, you go through, you use the little pinch feature, shrinks just the nose area, and everything else stays the same. One of the many tricks I will be going over at this year's Paradise Gathering, in my Procreate seminar. So please, if you are interested in learning some of the little tricks of the trade that there are with this software, by all means, please sign up. I'll be happy to walk everyone through every single thing that I do. Let's go through and we'll pick a different color. Yeah, that's a good color. Sketching. Yeah, I've been working on a number of different things. Anyone that's out there that follows me on Instagram, you'll notice that I've posted up quite a few different designs over the last couple of days. A couple of Daruma dolls that I would really like to tattoo. Um, and that's part of the thing, right? That's part of what we do as far as like drawing and designing and sketching and developing these designs. Sometimes you'll draw something out and people won't even know that they wanted, whatever it is that you're drawing. And they don't know it because they've never seen it. So if they see something that you've designed and they absolutely love it, they'll book an appointment, they'll come in and get it. And it's great, so that's part of the reason why I always work on a lot of different stuff. And I always throw around a lot of different ideas because you really don't know what people are going to want to get done. So why not go through and drop a whole mess of stuff and just see what people want to get done? It's the way a lot of conventions work. There are a lot of conventions out there that people have pre-drawn stuff and that's all that they're doing at that show. And if you see something on the table that you like, awesome. Snag it up before someone else does. But there's, you know, not everyone that works at a show or at a convention is willing to sit back and take 3 hours to draw out this dream catcher and geometric mandala piece that, someone may want in a very, very small area. Um, instead they may be trying to focus on something specific. Maybe it's dragons, maybe it's, geometric work, maybe it's Daruma dolls or tigers or, you know, whatever. Um, you never really know, but you never know until you ask either. So always recommend, going through and seeing what people have. I think this year at the shows that I plan on working at, um, I think I'm going to bring a whole host of different dragon designs with me. In fact, I may go through, may keep part of this, and then let's draw something else up for the hand. We're going to start fresh. So if this is my body, maybe we'll just we'll make this the center of the hand. Like a little thumb. Now, typically speaking, dragons do not have opposable thumbs. I like to give mine opposable thumbs. I just think it makes them look not necessarily more anatomically correct, but I just like the way it makes them look. Yeah. Give this guy a little bit of a bend, not too much. I try to make sure that everything stays on like a standard arc for dragon hands. You've got your first layer of knuckles here. You've got your second layer of knuckles. Then you've got, roughly speaking, where the, this one's more of a triangular shape. This is where the claws would come out, the nails would come out. It's tricky if you're working with different types of like foreshortening and perspectives and angles. Because you really do have to think of it in a three-dimensional kind of sense, right? If I had, say I wanted my hand to be coming towards the viewer, right? Then how would I draw that? Because if this is base of the hand, if this finger is coming straight at me based on foreshortening, all I'm really going to see is this. I might see a bit of the top knuckle here, right? And then I may see more of this down here for another finger. Maybe what would I want to draw? Would have something down here like this. Maybe another one here. This nail would be coming down. No, all I would really see is the front edge of this. Maybe a little bit of this back knuckle, this knuckle, this knuckle. This would appear way larger to me because it's coming at me than any of these other fingers. Just because, may not seem that way doesn't mean that foreshortening and perspective don't exist in every single thing that we're drawing if we want to draw it in a unique way. It's also a way to create a sense of depth. Just strictly based on foreshortening and everything of that nature. By making certain things obnoxiously large to make it really look like they're coming at you, can really change the way that certain things look. So this is actually going to be partially obscured because I want this side of the hand. Tuck that knuckle. Make that a bit more faint. We can actually hide the head too. Okay, so knuckle, knuckle, and then that comes out, and that's where our nail's going to connect. We've got knuckle, knuckle, nail connects here. We'll give this one a bit more of a straight out. This guy can come out a little bit. We'll give this one a bit more of a straight nail too. Sometimes it's good to go through and do some volume sketching, like basically sketch out the whole volume of what it is that you want to draw, and then go through and, try to find its flow, try to find how is it going to wrap, what direction do you want it to flow in? If this was a realistic object, how would it curve? Would it curve around in this kind of a way to create almost like a cylinder look like here? Would it, curve around in a different aspect, in a different way? Maybe you would only see the tops of something. So sometimes it is nice to go through and just do a little bit of volume sketching and just trying to figure out like how would this flow in real life? That's why you'll see some people whenever they draw snakes or dragon bodies, they'll go through and they'll use a whole bunch of circles, kind of like the way that this dragon like the dragon body behind me has been sketched out, although that was a pre-configured Procreate brush. But by drawing these ovals and these circles, it really does help you get an idea of the volume of what it is you're producing. And by volume, I mean the actual, like, if it was physical, what would the actual three-dimensional look of it, how would it look? That's what I mean when I say volume. Not talking turn it up to 11, although I would like to turn this up to 11 and make it super awesome. But, it's a good question. How, if this was a real thing in front of you, how would it look? So sometimes I'll sketch out the volume and I'll start drawing out the volume of if it was a physical object, how would that sit? How would that look at that perspective? And that's what kind of helps me dictate where am I going to put this part? How is this going to look? Is this at the right angle? Is this at the right perspective? I know that if I've got a hand here, a little bit of a knuckle here, a bit of a knuckle there, knuckle up top, knuckle. Here's this. That can come over. This guy's got some pretty long, slender fingers. I used to draw a lot of dragon claws, just like straight lines, and then just kind of hook the fingernail around. That does work too, but you need to have a little bit of a bump just to denote the joint, just to denote the knuckle. You don't have to have the whole joint bent, but it is going to help as far as understanding, anyone that looks at it, understanding what it is and how does it move. Because of the perspective I want this to be at, you're only really going to see this middle knuckle. This part would come down a bit. Cool. Wonder if Andre Malcolm's going to be watching today. That was kind of intimidating last week, but such a nice guy, such a humble human being. And he is awesome at drawing everything. So I really love the way that he draws and he renders certain things. He's got a great process. Thumbnailing, final. I remember him saying during one seminar that, sometimes he would do 50 different thumbnails, just trying to get some waves right. And it's like, whoa, that's awesome. But it just goes to show that the more time you put into drawing a design or coming up with a concept and designing something for someone, typically speaking, the better product you're going to get. Now for this, we're going to have the back of the hand. Maybe I want that to be up a little bit. Maybe if I want that. Maybe I want it to be bent back a bit. Here we have this kind of rotating over on this kind of a way. I'm not going to see too much of that, but we will see some of the palm. That almost like a creepy, like witches kind of angle. A little bit of that. I took the whole thing and rotated that. This, by the way, is also why I encourage people to draw on different layers. This way you can go through and you can rotate individual sections, individual parts. This is that top knuckle. That would be part of the palm. Maybe bringing this down a bit. Once again, we can use our volume sketching to kind of figure out How thick do I want this to be before I draw the edges, before I draw the lines? Maybe I want to have this be the deltoid, right? Now the tricep would be mostly hidden. The bicep would come down. That would be mostly obscured by the forearm. Just give this like tiny little inference. Forward deltoid would curve around here. This would all be the inside of this arm. Maybe add like a little thing there. Making it bumpy. And not a bad little dragon claw. How's that going to look? The rest of our head. That could work all right. Maybe move that over a bit more. That may work. Let's do another option. When in doubt, draw 3 or 4 options. Just see which one out of those 3 or 4 might look the best. Sometimes you want to start with a wireframe, you know, deltoid, elbow, forearm. Then what would be a really cool perspective? Maybe a lot of people will do like almost like a fan kind of layout, right? I'm trying to be a bit different. Maybe I want to, maybe we go back to the foreshortened perspective. But would that look right? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe I do want to have one finger coming towards us here. That can curve down. That would be a thumb. Maybe throw this guy in the background. That could work a little bit nicer. Make them look a little creepy, right? So there's one layer. Now we're going to go back through. Let's do something a little bit of a cooler, darker blue. Make this a bit smaller. So we've got finger number 1 back here. We've got the webbing in between the thumb and the forefinger here. This is our forefinger. I just have to be careful about where this webbing goes because typically speaking, if you look at your hand, it's about halfway in between the first or the second knuckle and then the knuckle where it joins the hand. So if here's a knuckle, here's a knuckle, here's a knuckle, here's where it connects to the fingernail. I would have another knuckle here. So about halfway in between these two, I would have this. This guy in the background would be pretty much shadowed. I wouldn't even bother to put any detail on him because he's going to be so far into the background, it's almost not going to be recognizable. See a little peak of this fingernail over here. That would come in and over. This would be the bend at the wrist. You know, get funky with it. Make it look like an alien hand or, you know, doesn't have to be the same dragon hand or dragon claw that everyone else draws. Use your imagination, use 3 dimensions. Look at things like bird claws and bird talons, um, you know, things like that. You know, dragons are supposed to have the talons of an eagle anyway, I believe. I'm pretty sure on that. Maybe I got the animal mixed up. So that's typically what I'll go through and I'll look at whenever I'm drawing dragon claws. Is I'll look at, basically how do raven claws look, or crow's feet, or eagle feet. You know, granted, I'm not going to draw every digit or every toe, or would those be toes or fingers? I don't know. I'm not going to draw every single one of them, but this would be scaling here and here. That's one of the things that it doesn't matter what artist you admire, or whose work you look at for inspiration. I can guarantee you the reason why they are your inspiration is because they're drawing things in a different way. So sometimes the best way to do that is to put a different perspective on it, put a different, angle to something. Now that's a creepy looking dragon hand. It's a bit too big, but so that could be option 2. Always put your options in groups. So this would be its own group. That one would be a group. And then we'll draw third group. Maybe, once again, we'll start with a wireframe. Make our brush a bit bigger. Deltoid, elbow, forearm. Maybe we want this guy pointing, right? So this would be the top of the hand, thumb, and maybe we want this finger to just kind of come up slightly and maybe come down. Then maybe this one will come down and then curve in. Or we could give the thumb or the interior digit. Maybe we'll give that one a bit of a different angle. Maybe we'll do that. And then here, or yeah, let's do this. We'll do here, and then curl that one back up. This guy will be end up going straight. And this fingernail will be straight. Always use your hands for models too. Like sometimes just by looking at the way that you can move like 3 different fingers can give you an idea of, okay, if this, how would this work? What would be a cool perspective for that? Should I do, if I wanted to have a dragon pointing with no opposable thumb, how would my fingers look if I did something like this? Maybe I have the first one curl in. Maybe I want it to be up a little higher. I want that middle one pointing. Maybe I want it down a little bit lower. But it just gives you an idea of where things would line up. Maybe I want the first digit pointing and the second 2 curled around. That could be cool. Let's do that one. So we're going to reevaluate some things. So forearm, right? Call this the top of the hand. And then we would want first our index finger pointing, then second finger, third, right? So if I hold that, yeah, second, and then third would be down here. You know, almost like he's pointing the way to something. Then actually that would follow a little bit more parallel. And then this one would follow parallel to that. It's just the angle of this front portion a bit more. Good. No, don't like it. Maybe we should go with something coming more at us. Maybe we'll have this opposable digit coming at us. So that's going to be a bit bigger. And then we'll have something, the other digit here, other digit kind of parallel. Yeah, let's go with that one. So we're going to take that and drop the opacity down a little bit, add a new layer. I always like to work with blues. Don't ask me why, I just do. Next thing we got to do is figure out where are our knuckles. So there's a knuckle, here's a knuckle. And then we've got secondary knuckle. Right, so these are going to be almost on top of each other. Where is it connecting to the fingernail? Here. Make sure that if you're plotting out the knuckles and you're using foreshortening and perspective, make sure that anything that's coming closer to you is going to be drawn bigger gradually. So like this one, this second knuckle here is going to be bigger than this one here. And this one here, which is going to be the closest to us, is the biggest. That immediately is going to help you remember that, oh yeah, this is coming in proportion and this is going to end up looking a lot bigger than what I originally thought. So we've got that. Here's our rough layout for Dragon Claw. That can go into the center. We're going to put a little bit of webbing here, halfway in between that, halfway in between that. Although this would probably be up over here a bit. And then this, which is going to be our fingernail. We're only going to see, we're not really going to see too much of the curve because part of it's going to end up moving backwards, but it is going to taper down. Cool. And then this gets a little bit less opacity. Shrink our sketching pencil down a little bit. Now we've got refine. over. Roll around a little bit, although that angle is slightly off. This would be this knuckle. For some of these knuckles, I like to like flatten out the tops of them. Because we're gonna have like scale work here, like tiny little ridges, just kind of connecting down and around. It's gonna give it a little bit more of that kind of like scaled appearance, I guess. This guy, we can do a little bit of a flat top, but we're not going to see too much of it. Then this is going to curve in. You can already start to see this thing taking shape. Or maybe we'll bring that back down a bit. Make this one a little bit thicker. That's where the webbing would go. Probably see a little bit of that. Give this one a backward. I always like to make the dragon fingertips a bit bigger. Don't know why, I just kind of always do. There we go. Now we go. Good. Good. Broad to specific. Broad to specific. Always work broad to specific. Don't have to truly define it just yet because I may end up going back through and making this part a bit shorter. Right there. Much better. I like it. Sometimes it takes more than one version of something to go through and, really kind of figure out what it is you're trying to do and what angles you like on certain things. So don't be afraid to sit back and invest more time and, really try to figure out, okay, how do I want this to look? Try something different, try a different perspective on whatever it is you're drawing, because you never know that you could very easily come up with something that no one else has ever seen or even attempted before. And it could be an absolute game changer for everyone, myself included. I'm constantly impressed by different people that do things or the same thing in a different way. So for me, it's like, let me see what variations on the same kind of thing people are doing. Maybe I'll have this finger curling around so that it's like going away and then coming back towards us. But if I do that, now I have to change this bottom portion a bit. But that's okay, because that's going to look a lot better. Thin this out a bit more. Good. Oh, who's this? Ricardo. Ricardo Sertivant. Very big inspiration. Very, very good friend of mine. Incredibly talented tattoo artist and amazing painter. Ricardo Sertivant, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to today's show.
Hey, what's up, man? Thanks for having me. Can you hear me?
Always welcome on here, man.
Cool.
Yeah, sorry, I was just taking a sip of coffee.
Oh, I didn't see. Sorry about that.
It's all good, man. How have you been?
I'm pretty good. Staying busy.
That's good.
Yeah, doing a lot of stuff, a lot of work. A lot of stuff outside the shop too, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, dude, trust me. I'm very well aware of how much of a busy bee you can be.
I like to keep myself occupied for sure.
Well, don't we all, man? Don't we all? Staying occupied, keeping busy, that's one of the keys to happiness, in my opinion.
Oh, for sure. So what's up with you? What's new with you? You got travel plans coming up soon or what?
I've got Paradise Gathering coming up in October, Puerto Rico in December, and then right now it doesn't look like a whole hell of a lot. I don't know if I'm working at the Philly show this year, which is weird because it'll be like the first time in 13 years I've missed it. But, and it's not for any other reason other than, last year was kind of a mess, just with booth mates and everything like that. And I ended up eating way too much of the cost of everything.
Yeah, that sucks.
And that really, really upset me. So for me, it's kind of like, okay, well, do I want to go through and put the same kind of risk out there again? Especially because last year I got a double booth. and I was supposed to
Mhm.
have two people work with me, neither one of which showed up.
Oh no.
So it was me alone in a double booth picking up the cost for 2/3 of it.
Oof.
So I was not a happy camper. It was the equivalent of buying my own single booth, only more expensive.
Yeah. Bummer, man. I'm sorry to hear that.
Well, you know, sometimes in life these things happen, and the best thing we can do is learn from it and, you know, try to do better next time. Um, as much as I absolutely love working at the Philadelphia show, it's it's definitely a huge show. And I've got a lot of local clientele, so it's not like I ever, you know, really lose out on money, but last year was just really, really rough. And this year I've kind of taken a step back from traveling and everything like that.
Likewise,
Um,
yeah.
so it ended up being one of those situations where it's like maybe I should just take a little bit of time, reset, reevaluate some stuff, and maybe pick it up again next year. Next year is looking like it's going to be absolutely incredible. I've got Hell City that I'm doing next year for sure. Just got to
Mm.
get that submitted and in. Um, you know, I've got a lot of really, really fun stuff. Actually, I was invited to both Hell Cities. One with my friend Chris Mack from Ohio or from Wisconsin.
Mm.
Um, so that's going to be awesome. I met Chris Mack last year at Puerto Rico. He's a regular artist down at the Puerto Rico show, and we kind of hit it off. So, and he hit me up and he's like, "Hey, want to do Hell City Phoenix?" I'm like, "Yes, absolutely. That would be awesome," because I didn't think they were ever doing that show again.
There you go.
So I am not going to miss this opportunity. Um, but yeah, other than that, man, just, you know, doing my thing, been doing a lot of painting. Well, trying to do a lot more painting hasn't actually happened. Got a lot more layouts going on, but not a whole lot of actual progress on any of them. So it's something I need to get in back into. Which, by the way, if anyone out there is looking for a cheap place for new paintbrushes, take a look at Temu. It's like some kind of weird app where you can order stuff. I just got a whole ton of brand new brushes for like next to nothing. Um, I think I paid $50 and I got like a brand new, like super nice fancy brush pen, whole bunch of new quill brushes, you know, for um, you know, doing like large like watercolor paintings. Nice new travel brush, and then an entire set with a carrier of like all of these brand new brushes.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing was $50. It was great. Normally for a couple of really nice quill brushes, you'd be paying somewhere upwards of $30 to $50 a piece. So, I mean, it'll save you a bit of money. Um,
And the quality's good too, huh?
haven't tried them out yet, so I can't really comment on that per se, but
Yeah.
they seem pretty good. They've got great ferrules. They've got I did a little bristle tug just to see how well that they were in there, and they seem pretty in there. So I don't think any of them are going to fall out, and I don't think I'm going to lose any bristles in my paintings, which is
Good.
always a fear of mine. But yeah, it's turning out to be a great investment. So I'm pretty stoked for it. And they've got everything on there. I almost bought like a weird like riot helmet the other day just because I thought it looked really, really cool. Um, yeah, it had like a fold up face shield and everything. Oh, it was super cool. And I looked at it and I'm like, $50. When am I ever going to see this again? Do I really need it though? Probably not, because I'm not in Riot Patrol. So I don't really have a need for it. So I didn't buy it.
Right.
It looked really awesome. So they've got all kinds of stuff on there. But yeah, man, just trying to improve every day a little bit more. Been working on a lot more Japanese dragons. I took a seminar with Bill Canales
Mm-hmm.
from San Diego. It was a 6-hour intensive dragon course, and he kind of lit the spark under my butt for drawing more dragons. And I've been like trying to work on them for 30 minutes every day for the past
But
month or two.
trying to get it to where your dragons aren't dragging.
Yeah, getting it to the point where like I've got so many different dragon heads drawn up that it's
Yeah.
like, cool, which one do I want to use for this next tattoo?
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm also trying to get some stuff together because next year in the Chinese zodiac is the year of the dragon.
Yeah, there you go.
So I'm trying to get a lot of stuff like pre-drawn, set, and ready to go specifically for the year of the dragon.
Very cool.
I also recently got a brand new massive dragon painting laid out. It's 2 feet by 4 feet. Hopefully, I have the time and discipline to knock that out at Paradise Gathering this year. I'd love to be able to knock it all out, over a course of a couple of days up there, but we'll see how things go. But Bill's seminar was amazing, man. It covered everything from dragon claws and hands to body layouts, uh, beard styles, just everything. It was completely comprehensive. If he offers it again next year, I may take it again just to like
Yeah, that's
refine
always cool.
some stuff. But
Yeah. It's always good to like get back into things, even if you feel like you've already done it.
oh, absolutely. But how about you, man? What have you been working on?
Uh, I did this skull water kind of thing the other day. That was pretty fun. I've been trying to get more into like a tattoo feel of my tattoo project or my drawing projects and stuff lately. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Yeah. That was pretty fun. And I did this Elden Ring. Elven Ring, I think is what it's called. I did this Elven Ring sleeve the other day, or I'm getting closer to finishing it. So that's been pretty cool too. It's been painstakingly like detailed. So it's been a task for sure. So that's been pretty fun, man.
Is that the one that you posted the progress shot up on Instagram?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, dude, that's coming out absolutely incredible.
Thank you. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Let me show you I'll show you the drawing for the skull water thing that I did too. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. Well, here's a Hanya that I'm working on with split kind of thing with Bruno. I'll show you this first.
Oh, hell yeah, man.
Yeah, Bruno did
Look at that thing.
Bruno did this side. I'm doing that side.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. And then the skull water one, let me find that one. Here it is. This is the drawing I did for it too.
Oh, that's sick, dude. Are you trying to put those together as like a flash sheet?
No, this one was just for the project itself. You know what I mean? The other one, this one was for the tattoo that I did. I did the tattoo. Let me see if I can find it here. Hold on one second. But I'm just trying to do a little bit more, like I'm trying to get to where I can have a little bit more finished feel to my tattoos. You know what I mean? Like
Gotcha.
more of an illustrative tattoo look, you know? I'm trying to go back down that road again. Let me see. I have some pictures here. I'll show you real quick. Let's see how well you can see them. Let's see. Actually, let me just pull them up into Procreate real quick. Hold on one second.
Yeah, take your time. Yeah, I can't wait to hang out with Bruno again this year
Oh yeah, you're gonna see him at
at Paradise Gathering.
Foreshortened
Yeah.
at Paradise Gathering. Cool. Right, so here is a fresh photo that I grabbed.
Oh, sick, dude. That's sick.
Thank you. And then here's the other side of it. Let's see.
Oh, dude, that's nasty. I love that, man.
Thanks, man.
That came out great.
I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Reminds me a lot of Justin Weatherholtz.
Yeah, it's got that feel to it. It's definitely an
Yeah.
inspiration. It was definitely an inspiration. Well, what happened was this guy, he had a few main ideas and he had placement for the tattoos that he wanted. So we put them on his arm. We did a clipper ship last time on his upper bicep on the outside. And he's like, I don't know what else to put in there. What do you think? I was like, let's just do some skull water, dude. You know what I mean? He's
Yeah.
like, what's that? And I was like, well, let's check it out. So we flipped through a couple books and stuff like that with the Japanese waves, and then started flipping through some skull books and stuff. And we did it. So it's definitely got that Weatherholtz kind of feel though, and it's a compliment. So thank you.
Well, and you can tell, man, he spent a lot of time studying or Greg Irons.
Yeah,
And the
for
way
sure.
Greg Irons drew his waves.
Hmm.
So I mean, he actually just released a book that I really want to pick up. Um,
Greg Irons did.
no, Justin Weatherholtz.
Oh,
Uh,
cool.
I forget what the name of it is, but it's like Death at Sea or something like that.
Hmm.
But it's a fantastic book, and it's just filled with different types of water images, and it's
Yeah,
pretty big, like frameable print size if you were to cut out each page.
yeah,
But you can tell and you can see the Greg Irons influence in the way that he drew his water.
yeah,
So bravo, man. That it's not easy to get that kind of a flow.
yeah.
Uh, I've been trying to work on waves as well for a long, long time, man. And it's not an easy task.
Sure is not. Yeah, that's what I was mostly concentrating on whenever I did it, was like how to fill the space like in a nice design kind of way, you know what I mean? Like to keep it all flowing together and kind of just keep the movement in the whole piece.
Right? Well, and keeping it moving and flowing, especially in a given or a specific direction that you want it to move in, that
Right.
to me is always one of the most challenging aspects behind it.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's easy to kind of get a little bit like the angle off just a little bit, you know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, that'll give me a good dragon claw for behind this head.
So yeah, I'm just having fun with these kind of waves and getting back into like the illustrative kind of part of tattooing and stuff like that, you know what I mean?
Right on.
Yeah.
Something we all have to do every now and then is,
Go back to
get
the
back
beginning.
into, yeah, get back into certain things. Whether it's getting back to the illustrative part or maybe revisiting, different ideas and perspectives that we have in our head that we've learned over the years, and
Mhm.
questioning, well, why do I outline a lot of this, right?
Right, exactly.
If I'm going for a realistic look, why am I going to outline this part of, this tattoo, you know? And it's like, oh yeah, that's right, because that's where I'm going to shade off of in order to make that line disappear. And that's going to create that as a hard edge.
Totally.
It's like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. So
Totes my goats, man. Totes my goats.
yeah, lately I've been trying to simplify a lot of the things that I do and just add a lot more contrast,
Hmm.
especially to my black and gray work. Just trying to really bump it up, um, trying to use a lot more real hard black, which I
Yeah.
switched the black that I was using to the point that I'm now starting to realize that maybe that wasn't such a good idea, because the black that I'm using now is so dark by comparison that it stands out beyond everything else that I'm doing.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, well, now I really got to figure out how to make the contrast way darker. But I will say this, if you're looking for a good black outlining ink, Panthera outlining ink is incredible. It's dark, it's very easy to use, but it's really only good for outlining.
You know what I've been using a lot lately is the Tim Hendricks black
Really?
from Solid. Yeah, dude, I love that stuff, man. It's awesome.
And does it thin out real well, or is
Yeah,
it
yeah. I
good?
disperse it with all my black and gray washes, you know what I mean? It's like it's very versatile as far as, a lot of times you have to use some blacks for lining and others for like creating your washes and stuff like that for your values and everything like that. But I've been using that and just witch hazel for everything, dude. It's awesome.
Hmm. I'm
Check it
going
out.
to have to look into that.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome, man. I love it. And it's when you're lining with it too, it's not too thick either, you know what I mean? No blowouts and nothing like that. I
Yeah,
will
it's
add just a touch of witch hazel to it whenever I'm using like tight threes, you know what I mean?
right, right.
But I don't think that's necessarily the ink or the pigment. I think it's like just the fact that it's such a tight grouping.
Yeah, gives it a little bit more of a fluid flow.
Yeah, yeah. It just doesn't fog up on you or anything like that either, so to speak. So it's been pretty fun. I like it. I like it a lot. It's been a game changer for me.
Well, that's awesome. I always love to hear about game changers.
For me,
Yeah,
yeah, it has been. It's like, but you give one person a tool and it doesn't work the same for them though.
right.
So,
Everyone's a bit different, everyone's a bit unique, and what works for me may not work for other people and vice versa.
right.
Absolutely. Completely agree with that. I'm actually playing around now with a different color company. I started trying out some of these chroma inks.
Hmm.
Um, and I have to say, man, they're a lot thinner than what I'm used to working with,
Hmm.
and they're powder based, but they are flying in, and it's making doing color tattoos so easy. I feel like it's cheating, kind of.
Yeah,
Yeah, because it just goes in and it's there and it's saturated. You
yeah,
do have to make sure that you shake the absolute shit out of the bottle, which I'm
yeah,
not a
yeah.
big fan of, but it's kind of
So
like,
just get one of those little blenders, dude.
yeah,
I have one now and it's awesome.
yeah. I got one of the little test tube shakers and
Yeah,
agitators or mixers,
exactly,
and
exactly.
that thing has been a godsend. That it really helps break up everything that settles. And I keep my bottles usually stored horizontally anyway. It
Hmm.
just I've always found that makes things easier to shake up.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't
So
all settle at the bottom. It's like kind of on the side a little bit.
exactly. Yeah, it to me it just makes it easier to shake up and like disperse.
Hmm.
So I mean it works really really well. Um, they've got a couple of colors like for a bright vibrant red. I love their lipstick red. Um, they've got a bright navy blue, which is like I think one of my favorite blues that I've ever used. Um, but it's very, very traditional, old school powder based.
Hmm.
So it's not for everyone. And if you have never worked with powder based pigments before, if you're used to like the micro dispersed, like Eternal, Fusion, um, companies like that, then it's going to be a bit different. You don't have
Yeah.
to try as hard, but at the same time, some of the lighter colors definitely are not going to show up as quick. So you
Yeah.
have to keep that in mind and not overwork the skin. Um,
So
but
like learning how
they
to
are,
tackle yellows.
oh yeah, dude, yellow's notorious for that. You're
Yeah.
like, is it there? Is it there? All right, I'm going to go and work in a different area.
Yeah.
Then I'll give that a few minutes to calm down and I'll see if it's there. Oh, it is there. Oh, and it's nice and
Yeah.
solid. Wow.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yes, sir.
yep, just progress every day. Haven't heard from Guy in a while, so I may hit him up and just check on him and see how he's doing.
Mhm.
Make sure his shoulder's doing all right.
Looks like he's been doing a lot of paintings though.
Yeah, which is awesome. I love to see that. I still would love to get out there one day and, just sit down and paint with him. Just watch his process. It's just such an inspirational human being. But I'm actually also really excited. Andy Chambers is going to be up at Paradise Gathering this year.
Oh,
And
fun.
I've been talking to him a bit through the Fireside Network,
Mhm.
just, like saying hi and saying what's up and stuff like that. And he'll probably jump in and do some collaborative drawing and painting up at Paradise this year. Andre Malcolm will be there. And I was talking to him. He actually was watching last week as I was drawing a dragon head. And, so I reached out to him and, we'll probably end up doing some collaborative drawing up at Paradise this year with Andre. So that's going to be epic. I'm very excited for Paradise this year. And I'm
Same
just,
spot, Jiminy Peak.
yep, same spot.
Yeah.
Just as excited too for Hell City. So that's going to be awesome.
Yeah, man. It'll be a good time. I'm glad you get to go.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to roll in with a whole bunch of paintings as well to help outfit their I think they call it the wet canvas gallery or whatever, where they actually have like paintings for sale done by
Mhm.
different artists.
Yeah.
Don't know if anything will sell, but I'm trying to at least throw up 3 or 4 really, really nice size paintings for sale there.
Yeah, I hope that works out, man. It's always hard to get a collection like that going sometimes.
Yeah, tell me about it. Yeah, especially, I mean, I've got one already laid out. It's this new bodysuit I've been working on. Let me see if I can pull it up. It's a bodysuit design that I started mocking up with color and Procreate.
Yeah, look at that. That's awesome, dude. That's killer. Very nice. The Jason Leeser snake combo, flower combo. That's awesome,
Well,
dude.
yeah, dude. I mean, it took me a number of years to really figure out how to draw them right. Um, but I got it down pat now, and it's like, oh yeah, snakes, snakes are easy. It's like, okay, cool. Now I got that. Now what else do I need to work on? Oh, snake bodies are kind of like dragon bodies. Cool.
Yeah, totally.
So I've been working on a lot more dragons and just seeing like I want to say the crossover between them.
Mhm.
This would be the bicep, deltoid, the inner bicep, tricep would be back here. I always get like kind of confused about how dragon arms actually attach to the body
Yeah.
because I've seen it done in so many different ways. And it's like, okay, well, how do I want this to attach?
You mean like where or how it attaches?
Like where? So if I had my upper deltoid here, right, for the dragon arm, right? I know that there would be a little bit of like a cap there. And I always try to, just do like a little bit of a notchy attachment to the actual body.
Well, what about
But
his
it,
neck? What about the dragon's neck? What's the neck going to be?
so neck starts here and comes around. So I can always move the dragon arm down a bit if I need
Yeah,
to.
I think that's what I would do for sure. Yeah, because you want to see more of the neck behind the head, I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
But you
good
don't want
call.
to take away that curve. That's a cool curve on the top on the back part of his head though. I like that.
You're right. And it creates a lot more like visual momentum.
Yeah. He sped it up. Definitely sped it up.
Well, it creates continuity of visual line, right? So you've got,
Yeah.
it brings your eye over and you can see where the neck is compared to the rest of the body, and you can see how it's kind of curving and flowing.
Hmm.
You're right. You're right.
I
Good
think
call.
that yeah. I think that the back arm is usually kind of dissipated anyway. I think most of the
It
time you'd see the bottom right hand shoulder or our right
typically,
hand
yeah.
left. Yeah. Yeah.
So, however, here's where I'm running into an issue because of the size that I'm drawing this at and where the body is positioned. I know I'm not going to be able to get too much for the other arm, like the shoulder area. Even if I bring that down and over, it would still be
Mhm.
cropped.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to I think I might stick with just the one arm, maybe have like part of a hand.
Like his knuckles and
Yeah, I may have like part of a hand here,
yeah.
but part of that would also end up getting cropped out. So it's like, all right, I can have a little bit of this, but that's why I kind of need to show a little bit more of this arm.
Yeah. It depends on if you want to see volume, like a lot of volume to it or not, too. Like I usually try to think of the dragon arms kind of like draw some of these things.
Oh, dragons.
They're so fun, man. There's like, and then there's a lot of derivatives you can have too. Like is it going to be more like a horse kind of look? Is it more like the fish kind of look? You know what I mean? Because a lot of times the way they attach is almost. I always thought it was kind of like a fish, like the fish fin. You know what I mean? Like where it just kind of like seams into the part of the body. Does that make sense?
It does,
Like on a
yes.
koi fish or something almost.
So I always like to give a little bit of like an edge to like the top of the deltoid,
Hmm.
just to kind of show that, hey, there is mass here,
Right.
and maybe I'll have it like dissipate a little bit. But especially when I'm working at this kind of a perspective, it makes it a little bit more tricky. Although if I alter the perspective of this portion of the arm, I've got deltoid. If I make it more bicep straight on, just minimal That would disappear back there. Good. That would all disappear into the back. Can probably get away with a little bit of something like this. Just because if I have my underbelly here, where this is starting to curl around. See, this is what I like about drawing things well in advance, because you get to figure out all of these problems ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
This would be the underbelly. So then this would disappear to here. Might still have a little bit of form here.
I always think of it kind of like where it attaches like this. This would be the back spine. And then the shoulder.
Right, gotcha.
You know, I don't know if you can you see that?
Yep. Yeah, I see it. I see what you're talking about.
Yeah, so that's kind of like where I usually think it fits is like it'd be on the side of like almost like on our lat area. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the side of the ribs almost. It's always fun trying to come up with new ways to draw like the hands for them too, like the claws, dude. Like I like to reference a lot of like eagle claws or talons and stuff like
Yep.
that. You know what I mean? And it's always fun to try to find some references that are kind of like from like an under perspective. You know what I mean? Like from underneath the foot or the claw.
Oh, absolutely, man. It gives it, and that's kind of what I was touching on earlier today. It's like if you're ever struggling to find a different way to draw the same thing but in a different way, change the perspective on it.
Right.
Instead of drawing, a standard claw, just kind of down like that, which is the way that everyone is always taught to draw them. Maybe have like try to draw one that's upside down, like it's like trying to like cup something, right?
Yeah. It's always fun to kind of like put the ball or the pearl or something like that in there. You know what I mean? Because then it's like all you have to do is draw the three digits. You know what I mean? Yeah, we're gonna give your dragon a pearl today because that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah. Because it's going to help balance everything out. Trust me on
Yes, exactly.
And the light rays coming out from behind it are going to wash out the body, so we don't have to worry about drawing the rest of that.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, so you didn't want to draw anymore, but nope, not really.
Yeah, no, just kind of, deadline was coming up, and I only had a couple hours left before daylight hit, and so I just decided that we're going to throw a pearl in here. And
yeah. It does look cool though. Like I do love those classic motifs where it's like the rays and stuff like that coming from behind it.
Oh yeah. Well, that's part of the reason why I was kind of working on this. I wanted to try to get back into a little bit more of like classic motifs, simplifying everything down a bit more. Just getting back to like a little bit of the basics.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's what I've been trying to do too. Like just kind of make it a visual image. You know what I mean? Like be able to see it from across the room, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Almost like a simplified graphic.
Yeah, you know, and like when is it just the right amount of shading? When is it just the right amount of line work? Make it
Well,
look good.
I think that's different for every individual though.
Oh yeah,
Some
absolutely.
I struggle with that a lot.
Yeah.
With getting just the right amount of value to make sure it's rendered properly,
Yeah.
but at the same time not overdoing it like I always have a tendency to do.
Right. Yeah, it keeps me up at night.
Yo, right? The struggle
Absolutely.
is real.
It's for real, for real.
For
It's for really
wizard.
real. For shizzles.
Yeah, so if I have that there. Yeah, this one's a tough one because of the way that the body is turning. If I wanted to keep the arm with the same kind of like flowing with the body and the way that it would have to be rotated in order to reach out from behind the head, would almost have to give it like a straight on perspective.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's
That's what
what's
I'm thinking
throwing me
too.
off.
That's what I was saying. Like if it's straight on.
Oh, perspective.
Just draw a box,
Purses.
man.
Yep.
Draw a box. Start with the box first. The
No
rectangle.
triangles.
Sometimes. I mean, there's triangles and boxes too. You know what I mean?
True, true. A box is just a whole bunch of triangles.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that the other day about going out for Mexican food with you and Kier,
Mm-hmm.
and how I'm like, that's a doorway. It's square. And you're like, nah, I see triangles.
Yeah. They're all there, man. Maybe I'm just like making it up.
Well, no, because like,
It's just the world that I
so
think.
I've started to recognize that in a lot of other things that, I'm doing. And as I mentioned back when we first met, I might not be the brightest crayon in the box, but I get there eventually. Um, so it is something that I've started to really pick up on a lot more. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of it, I actually look at when I was in the dragon drawing seminar with Bill. Um, it it was fascinating because like the way that he like had everything mapped out was with boxes,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And then this is totally inaccurate, but it gives you the idea of like how he
Yes,
would map
exactly.
things out. And then
Yeah.
what he would do is he would go through and he would say, "Oh, the nose, yeah, yeah, we're just going to put like a triangle here, right? Oh yeah, the horns, that's just going to be a big triangle from here, right?
Right.
And then that's going to give us, are the horns at the same angle that the top of the brow is, so that's going to tell us if that's right. Um, oh yeah, the whiskers, yeah, those are just like points, and I'm like, yeah, but if you round it off, it's all triangles. And
Mm-hmm.
I stopped and I had like a deja vu moment and I'm like, where's Ricardo? He's here. I know he's here. But how did he infiltrate my mind?
Wow, wow, wow.
He is everywhere and nowhere, ladies and gentlemen. He is the most interesting man in the world.
Drink Takati. Yeah, so I think I like how this one's shaping up so far. See what you think.
Dude, I love it. There's one part though, right above the eye in that little indented brow area.
Right here.
Yeah, watch that doesn't get too complex
Yeah.
because it could overcomplicate things and really distract the eye.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe lighten up just a little. Well, now that I'm looking at it on the YouTube, which has different contrast on the screen. Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Sick, dude. Sick.
It's coming together. It's coming together.
Yeah, I was kind of upset. I heard that James Tex was hosting. James Tex and Rob Noseworthy were both doing a dragon seminar up in Canada. I think that was in August, towards the end of August, up at I think it was Calgary, the Calgary show. And I was like, oh man, if I had the money, I would be there in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Yeah, tell me about it. James, well, that's what I was texting the other day. Like, me, my buddy Steve and I that works with me, we were just talking about Japanese tattooing and like the skull water stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was just taking a look at like different types of approaches and stuff like that. And it was fun, man. Like those Tex boys, man, they got it going on.
Yeah, there's something in the water up in Canada. There has to be. Like, I'm convinced of it.
Right.
But a lot of it comes down to hard work. You know, I was talking with Anthony about that last December when I was getting my hand tattooed. And you know, just the insane amount of hours that they put in just to drawing.
Yeah.
You know, and figuring out and breaking things down into basic shapes, basic concepts. A lot of it from what I overheard when I was at the Deadly show up in Calgary. When was that? 2 years ago? You know, I overheard Steve Moore and James Tex going back and forth about volume sketching as opposed to, you know, just going through and doing line drawings or anything like that. And really like sitting down and figuring out muscle structures and saying, oh, okay, so if this is my deltoid, right? I'm going to go through and figure out the volume that I want that to come up with and just kind of like nice loose scribbles.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to create that movement and that flow already there. They're like, it's pretty easy from there because once you've defined that, you basically just go through and you do a hard line around like the outside of it. And I was like, dude, that's like genius.
Yeah.
You know, but once again, working broad to specific. As a very good friend of mine, you might know him. His name's Ricardo. Very good friend of mine, you know, enlightened me to a long time ago. And, you know, it's something that I've been trying to incorporate more of. I still like to do my wireframes just to give me ideas on like perspective and alignment and proportion. But I've been doing a lot more like volume sketching and working a lot more broad to specific.
Yeah, for sure, man.
It
There's so
just
many.
helps.
It really does. Like I think it also can help with some of the contours that you can't really discover sometimes with some like wireframe sketches. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think also like if you are wireframe sketching, like it's important to remember that even though you're doing boxes and trying to figure out like general planes and stuff like that, like it's good to do those curved lines with the like where you think it's going to start turning away from the light source. You know what I mean? So
Right.
yeah, I just think that that's I think so. Like it's good to do both, really, and like I've been trying to implement the two together more so lately than anything. You know what I mean? And I've found that like I'm drawing a little bit faster now. You know what I mean? And like it's come like the idea comes together a little bit quicker, so I'm able to like not get distracted by trying my best to try just make it look the way I want it to. You know,
Right. Right.
so it helps it out that way. It also helps me discover some things that I wouldn't have even thought to put in there, because sometimes those overlapping values that collect in your drawings or like on an iPad or something like that, like it creates these interesting kind of shapes sometimes, I think.
Oh,
Or
absolutely.
like shaded areas, you know what I mean? Like where you wouldn't have thought to put some of the value study, like the darker contrast points and stuff like that. I feel anyway. I feel it in my bones.
Yeah, I think
But yeah,
this
no, it's
is
cool. I'm glad it helps out, man. That's good to hear. But
absolutely, man. You've definitely had an impact.
good.
Yeah, I was
What's
also
good?
I was listening to Clint Danroth, who's another really well-known Canadian artist out in Calgary, and he posted up a video the other day about how he never erases anything. He's like, that's how you create the texture
Yeah.
underneath some of these parts.
Right.
He's like, don't erase. You want to make your stuff, you know, a bit faster and get a better feeling for it and create more texture in it. He's like, don't erase
Mhm.
anything ever. He's like,
Yeah.
let that underlying scribble create that texture for you.
Entirely, dude. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. There's magic in it.
There is. Cool. So there's that arm. Now I just have to figure out the other one.
I think all we see is your
Oh,
screen.
oh, yep. Forgot to turn my video back on. Yeah, this other arm is going to be mostly hidden. We'll create another layer. Let's put that a bit. So this one, I already know I want one to be off that direction. This would kind of come over and down and disappear. This one could come down this way. This one would disappear down here off the edge. So that might be a bit big. This great.
All right, man. I'm gonna get going. I got some chores I got to take care of and stuff. I'm gonna say hello to you though, and thank you for having me, Jason. It's always a
Anytime,
pleasure.
bud.
Yeah.
Miss you, homie.
Yeah, for sure, man. Touch base, dude. Hopefully
Oh,
everything's
will
going well.
do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Will do, my friend. You take
And I'll
care.
talk.
How can we reach you?
You can find me on Instagram under @Ricardo Sturdivant. I work at a shop in Bloomington, Illinois called Art Core Tattoo. You can find that on as well on Instagram. Hit me up, let me know what's going on, and I hope you guys have a safe day and a good week this week, man. Keep the tattooing alive.
Right on, man. Thanks a lot for joining today. Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'll probably get out of here as well. For those of you that want to get in touch with me, feel free to send me a DM on Instagram. It's right up here. It's at Philly Inc. I check it pretty regularly. Or you can always email management at reinventingthetattoo.com. If you like today's show, make sure to go through and hit that like and subscribe button. That way you get notified every time we host another live stream. And for those of you that have been watching today, thank you very much. And keep those hands moving, keep tattooing alive, as Ricardo said. And I will catch up with everyone next week for episode 125 of Skill Building Sunday.
Awesome,
Thank you very
dude.
much, everyone, and have a wonderful day.
Peace.